Metro News anchor desk.
Metro News Sports. Good afternoon. I'm Joe Mercado. Houston is one of the surprise stories in the Big 12 Conference this season. The Cougars will host West Virginia Saturday at noon. Houston is 7-1, and they broke into the AP Top 25 this week at number 22. Rich Rodriguez says the Houston defense looks the part.
Interior guys on defense, their defensive front's really good, athletic, a linebacker, and in the back end, we again just fundamentally getting a little bit more push up front. Being solid with our techniques.
The Marshall football team hits the road tomorrow for Myrtle Beach. The Thundering Herd will visit Coastal Carolina Thursday evening. Marshall has won 4 of 5 after an 0-2 start, and Capital High School graduate Kerryon Martin says having 12 days in between games late in the year is certainly helpful.
Getting a short bye week, it's always great when you can get some time to rest in between the time between these games and things like that. So that way we're not just banged up and bruised up going into every game.
The first spots in the state high school soccer tournament will be earned tonight across the state of West Virginia. 6 regional final games will be played, with the winners advancing to the state tournament that begins next Wednesday in Beckley. Check out all the scores and schedules on the high school sports page at wvmetronews.com. You're listening to Metro News for 40 years, the voice of West Virginia.
Attention high school football fans. If you're wondering where your team ranks each week, check out the Tudors Biscuit World Power Rankings at wvmetronews.com. Each Tuesday morning, Metro News will update the power rankings for all 4 classes. And to find out where your favorite team ranks, simply go to wvmetronews.com. Click on the High School Sports tab and then the High School Power Rankings. The 2025 Metro News Power Rankings are presented by Tudors Biscuit World. Start your day the homemade way. Visit them at tudorsbiscuitworld.com.
Now showing on Metro News Television, Peak Health. Your doctors built it, your neighbors love it, and your friends at Hope Gas present episode 3 of State of Minds. Tony Caridi visits with former WVU head coach Don Nealon.
I told our guys, we're not setting our standards to beat Boston College. We're setting the standards to beat Pitt and Penn State.
State of Minds episode 3, now available. Presented by Hope Gas and Peak Health with support from Greer Industries. Only on the Metro News Television app.
2 weeks remain in the high school football regular season. In the Week 10 SSAC playoff ratings, Huntington remains the leader in Class Quad A. They're followed by Morgantown, Martinsburg, University, and GW. Princeton leads in Class AAA, and the Tigers are followed by Bridgeport, Fairmont Senior, North Marion, and Nitro. In AA, Frankfort is on top. Bluefield, Independence, Phillip Arbor, and Mingo Central follow 2 through 5. And in Class A, Wheeling Central is followed by Wahama, Clay-Battelle, Tug Valley, and Pendleton. For Metro News Sports, good afternoon. I'm Joe Burkott.
ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive.
It is Tuesday, October 28th. Your drive begins now on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Our text line this hour brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop at 304-396-TALK. That is 304-396-8255. We'll get an interesting guest coming up on the program in the next few minutes. Good friend of the program, Chris Dickerson. He's president of the School of Journalism and Mass Communication Alumni Advisory Board. So he messaged me and said, hey, we got a couple of sports guys that are going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. What do you think? I'm like, hey, let's do it. Because one of those guys is our good friend Jerod Smalley. He's going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. Also, Jeff Hopson. So Chris is going to come on the next few minutes and talk to us about those two gentlemen and why they are being inducted in the Hall of Fame for the J School. But until then, we have got plenty of time for your text, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Busy night for Herd Sports. Thundering Herd taking on Davis and Elkins. That's coming up tonight, 7 o'clock at the Cam Henderson Center. That is exhibition play. So if you want to kind of get a glimpse of what the future of Marshall basketball looks like, 7 o'clock tonight, it's a fans first event. So that means you can go and you don't have to pay admission. You can get in, sit where you want. There's not assigned seating. So if you haven't been to a Marshall game in a while and you kind of want to check it out and see what's going on with the Henderson Center, tonight's your night. And so that's happening 7 o'clock. Again, exhibition play against Davis and Elkins. A game will not be televised as this is an exhibition game. Who stayed up late last night? That's the other big question. And I'm not going to lie to you. In the 16th inning, I had to go. I couldn't do it anymore. Dodgers beat the Blue Jays 6-5 in 18 innings. It was like after 2 o'clock. And I was sitting there thinking, this has got to end eventually. It was a walk-off game-winning homer by Freddie Freeman. So we've got Game 4 of the series coming up tonight. 7 o'clock is our airtime. Hopefully it won't go 18 innings, and it'll be right here on ESPN, 94.1 and AM 930. But come on, 18 innings? Are we serious? 18 innings of baseball. I don't even know what time we got off the air with that game this morning because it was after 2. And I messaged someone who actually was up because I knew they would be up. I'm like, hey, look, keep an ear on this. I know you're up. Keep an ear on this because, I want to make sure the thing keeps running because we went past midnight. It's like 1 a.m., 2 a.m. I'm like, really? Are we going 18 innings with this? We were in 16, but yeah, apparently we went 18. So how many of you actually, and don't lie, how many of you actually got in all 18 innings or did you bail? Or are you even watching? So that's a big question right there for me. Are you even watching this thing, listening to this thing, or are you not even tuned in? Of course, Monday Night Football, what a snoozer that was. Chiefs beat the Commanders 28-7, so all is right in the world in the NFL. Cavaliers got the win over the Pistons yesterday, 116-97. We've got NHL action tonight. 6:45 is going to be Columbus at Buffalo. Now, this is an interesting night. It's the Frozen Frenzy. Every single team in the National Hockey League is playing. All 32 teams. And so there are 16 games going on tonight. And it's all going to start between 6 p.m. and then you've got games going into the night. I'm going to be watching some of it as much as I possibly can without overloading. I love this concept. I don't know if I love this concept, but I love this concept. You get what I'm saying? It's like, wow, that's a lot of hockey. I don't know if I can do a marathon of that. And, of course, Frozen Frenzy going up against the World Series, I don't know. I would like to do this on a night where you don't have everything going on at the same time. And I know that's hard with the NBA, but you got the World Series going on right now. You got the NBA. Thankfully, we don't have the NFL to worry about tonight. But this is going to be from, I think, 6 p.m. on, just hockey, wall to wall. And if you're like me, you've got the center ice package, I'm good. I've got options. I got choices tonight. So this is going to be one that's going to be testing the remote control. If you got DirecTV, it's not like a red zone. I don't think you could do a red zone properly the way that we like red zone for NHL. I mean, they've got Around the Ice on the NHL network, but they've got the multi-screen view where there's like 4 or 5. I'm going to be putting that to the test tonight. But I'm also going to be keeping an eye on the World Series. I'll have the tablet out for that, watching baseball on the tablet, hockey on the big screen, keeping an eye on what's happening with Marshall and Davis and Elkins tonight. All of that coming up. It's going to be crazy. I'm looking forward to all of it. And then, of course, we've got Sunbelt Conference football action tonight. 8 o'clock is going to be James Madison at Texas State. Thank goodness we don't have Marshall Tuesday football. Thursdays are fine. Herd plays on Saturday. Tuesday football. It's not Maction. Thank goodness. It's not Maction, but James Madison at Texas State tonight. So if you're interested in getting a sneak peek at what James Madison's all about and you haven't seen them yet, that's coming up tonight, 8 o'clock. Sunbelt action between Dukes and Texas State. So we're going to get our first break in. And then when we continue, we're going to welcome to the program, good friend of the program, as we mentioned, Chris Dickerson. Right now, he's the president of the School of Journalism and Mass Communication Alumni Advisory Board. And two members of the incoming Hall of Fame class are sports guys. Jeff Hopson, he's a 1992 Marshall grad, and Jerod Smalley, good friend of ours, a 2001 School of Journalism and Mass Communication grad. He, going into the Hall of Fame, we're going to talk to Chris about what this means and why it's important that Marshall has this. This, for a long time, kind of lay dormant until several years ago. And so now this has been really picking up. Chris has helped lead the way. And we're going to talk to Chris about it when we continue on today's edition of The Drive right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Transform your outdoors all year long with Roberts Lawn Care and Landscaping. Family owned and operated, serving the tri-state area with expert landscaping services. From vibrant spring gardens to cozy fall patios and everything in between. Roberts specializes in sustainable landscaping that thrives through every season, residential or commercial. Roberts creates personalized solutions to bring your vision to life. Call Roberts today at 304-633-5822 because your dream yard deserves 4 seasons of care.
This fall, let the Car Ferry bring a little magic to your driveway at Mark Porter Auto Group. With locations in Pomeroy and Jackson, Ohio, and Ashland, Kentucky, they make it easy to get into a safe, reliable vehicle. Every used car goes through a 117-point inspection, fall into a safe, reliable vehicle, and let the Car Ferry guide you to Mark Porter Auto Group in Pomeroy, Jackson, and Ashland. Or shop 24/7 at markporterautogroup.com.
Our Kendrick Communications family of stations reminds you of the need for blood donations to the Red Cross. Blood is always needed. It may save your life or the life of a loved one. This reminder is brought to you in part by
Roberts Lawn and Landscaping, residential or commercial, serving the tri-state. Phone 304-633-5822. Ray's Mexican Cantina, 234 3rd Avenue in Gallipolis, Ohio. Phone 740-441-5871. And Altizer Farm Supplies. See the Central Boiler, Outdoor Wood Furnace at 585 Centerpoint Road, Thurman, Ohio. Phone 740-245-5196.
You're listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
We continue on with this Tuesday edition of The Drive here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. We'll get back to the text line in just a few minutes at 304-396-TALK. That is 304-396-8255. Text line brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop. Let's turn our attention now to what's happening at Marshall here in about a week or so. Chris Dickerson is joining us. He's the president of the School of Journalism and Mass Communication Alumni Advisory Board. That is a big title, but he's got a big job. He is part of the group that helps select inductees into the School of Journalism and Mass Communication Hall of Fame. And a couple of sports guys, as we like to call them, made the list this year. Jeff Hopson and our good friend Jerod Smalley. And Chris is with us now to talk more about those two. Chris, good talking to you again. And we're right back at it once again. We're inducting a new class into the Hall of Fame.
That's right, yeah. And like you said, a couple of sports guys. As I like to tell people, I'm a recovering sports writer myself, as you know. But it's also kind of like the Marines. Once a sports writer, always a sports writer. So. But, yeah, we have, we've been doing this Hall of Fame again for almost 10 years now. And we've inducted several sports people over the last 10 years. Chad Pennington, for one, Jody Jivitan, longtime sports writer in Charleston, as well as Mike Cherry, longtime sports writer up in Charleston. And this year, as you mentioned, we've got Jerod Smalley, who, in addition, he was an athlete at Marshall. He was on the track team at Marshall when he was a student, but he also did some sports writing for the Partizan and went on to become – he was the sports director at the NBC station in Columbus. He now is like an anchor there, but he has a long career covering sports. I think he covered at least one Olympic Games for NBC or helped with it. So he's one of our many alums that we're ridiculously proud of, and proud to call him a son of Marshall. The other one, his name's Jeff Hopson, and you might not know his name from, but he is one of the best videographers in the business. He also does work mostly for NBC. You see his work every Sunday night on Sunday night football for NBC. He's always there. As a matter of fact, as soon as he leaves our ceremony next Friday evening, he hops on a plane, I think, for San Francisco, if I'm not mistaken, to work that game that weekend. But he's covered Olympics, he's covered Ryder Cups, all kinds of the big sporting events for NBC. He's probably been involved with over the last 20 years. He's fantastic, and if you talk to people in the TV industry, they know who Jeff Hopson is.
Chris, how many people yearly are on that list of, we would love to get them in, but we can only pick so many? I mean, how big is that waiting list? Because I would look sometimes, when talking with Woody Woodrum about the Hall of Fame for the athletic department, and there are just so many people you want to get them in, but you can't just open the floodgates and get them all in. It's just not possible. And
exactly.
And so, how hard is that?
Well, every year we probably have 20 to 30 people who are nominated, and it's just a nomination by the members of the public. It's usually people in the industry or people that know them, but anyone can nominate someone who's a graduate of the School of Journalism. Like I said, we usually have 20 to 30 a year who are nominated, and we don't have a set number that we induct every year, but it's usually anywhere from 3 to 5 since we restarted our annual ceremonies about 10 years ago. In total, there's about, right now, with the 5 that are being inducted next week, there's about 90 in our Hall of Fame right now. But it's the 100th anniversary of the W. Page Pitt School of Journalism at Marshall. And for those who don't know, you know, of course, because you are you went to school there, but fantastic program, one of the best journalism programs in the country, if I do say so myself. Always produces fantastic journalists. And so we have hundreds of people who are worthy of the Hall of Fame. And we have Pulitzer Prize winners in there, people who have won national Emmys, regional Emmys, business leaders, people who have led the military, 4-star generals. Chad Pennington, he was a journalism student. He also, he was a broadcaster for a while. We have people from all walks of life in the Hall of Fame, attorneys. It's just, but like you said, we've got 90 in there right now. I could probably easily name 100 more that are certainly worthy of induction. And one day they'll be in there, because like you said, we can't put them all in right now. It'd be a long ceremony.
Do you feel the pressure of, we got to get them all in eventually, and you just don't know how you're going to do it? I mean, there's got to be some pressure there about, all right, we're leaving somebody out. Hopefully we can circle back. We can get them next year. You're always leaving someone out, and you have such a wealth. Is there a feeling that, okay, eventually we're just going to, there's going to have to be either add more people or just make it even more of an exclusive club? What are your thoughts on that? Because this is kind of similar to all kinds of Halls of Fames, including athletic Hall of Fames.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and unfortunately, the journalism industry has seen a decline in recent years where not as many people are going into the industry. Not many people are making a career out of it, which is sad. But fortunately for Marshall, we had a few years of decline in the program in terms of the number of students. But this year, if I'm not mistaken, the number of students, the percentage of the students, the increase in the number of students in the journalism program increased more than any other department on campus. And off the top of my head, I think it was 42%, which is fantastic. because we're, as the world changes, journalism changes, and we're offering classes in podcasting and social media, and we change as the world changes. So we're starting to make that claw our way back, and we're seeing the results now of the hard work. We've got a new director of the program. His name's Rob Quick. He's a British chap, but he came to us from Robert Patterson University in New Jersey. He's doing a great job with getting attention back on our school, and we're excited about the future. And as I mentioned a minute ago, this is the 100th anniversary of the program. We have some big things we're going to try to do in the upcoming year, and we're going to kick it off actually at our ceremony, which is next Friday, November 7th. Tickets still available, by the way. But we have some lofty goals that we want to accomplish this year, and I think we're going to do them. But a really big announcement is going to be coming next Friday at our Hall of Fame ceremony. In addition to inducting these 5 fantastic people, which I don't know if we haven't mentioned the other 2, but in addition to Jeff Hopson and Jerod Smalley, we have Corley Dennison, who was the dean of the school for about 10 years. Catherine Gibbs Harris, she has had a fantastic, legendary career in public relations all over this place, mostly in the Charleston, Huntington area. And a guy named Patrick Wittich, who has made a name for himself, I think, about 40 years in the advertising agency. He's done work with Nike, McDonald's, Coke, all those companies. Any big company, he's probably done some work for them at one point in time.
If you're a J school student of a certain age, Corley also was either an advisor or your teacher, depending on when you went to Marshall. So, Corley's been there for a long time. I think he came with the place when I got there.
Well, now, he did work for the state with the Higher Education Board for a while. Now he's actually serving as the president of Southern Community and Technical College down in Logan. So, yeah, he has done he's had a fantastic career in academia, and he is just, everyone just talks about all the things he's done at every stop in his career. He's done amazing work. So, like I said, you're not always one of the people who are writing or they're on TV or on radio, but they're getting their work done, and we couldn't be more proud of all of them.
So what's the criteria? How, other than being nominated, that's obviously the first step. And do you throw names out there as well if someone maybe has had an impact that maybe isn't getting attention from someone in the nominating process? Do you interject yourself a little bit? How's that work?
No, I don't interject myself. No, there's been times. There was a guy a few years ago named John Hackworth. We had mentioned his name before at one point, but then he ups and wins a Pulitzer Prize. So we thought, we certainly need to make sure this guy gets some recognition. He the editor of a paper, or a chain of papers down in Florida, and he won a Pulitzer. We don't interject. I don't interject, but I personally, I don't nominate people, but I could. I feel that I shouldn't be doing that. But other people on our board do nominate people, and it just seems to always work out. If there's someone that's worthy, they're being nominated one way or the other. But I've never interjected and say, hey, we need to make sure we get this person in. And we do have a vote. We've got a 15-member panel, and we look at all the we look at all of the nominees, look at the stuff that we're given about them, and we talk it over. We have a vote. Sometimes we have 2 or 3 votes in the process to narrow it to that 3 or 5 people that make the cut each year. But I never vouch for anyone. When we have our discussions, I'll talk. I'll say, well, so and so, you remember he or she did this, but I never say, no, we definitely need to get someone in. I'm not a one-person committee. I trust that when we have our votes, like I said, there's 15 or so people on our panel. Usually the people that are getting inducted have at least 8 or 10 votes among those when it's all said and done. And sometimes it's pretty much unanimous that someone gets in. So
Has there ever been a moment where it's come between a candidate and another, and there's a debate? Because again, I'm alluding to this mirrors probably the process for a lot of just Hall of Fames when it comes to athletes as well. And is it straight vote? Okay, we have a discussion, straight vote, or is there any lobbying going on? Can you give me a little insight into what that process looks like inside? And you're probably the referee.
Yeah. Well, fortunately, I think, like I said, I think this is the 9th year since we reinstituted, maybe the 10th. I've lost track, to be honest. But when we have our vote, not always after, it's never been after the first vote, but we'll have a vote, and let's just say that 12 people get a vote. So we'll cut it. If there's someone that just got one vote or two votes, we kind of eliminate them from the second round of voting. We narrow the list. We go again, and fortunately, knock on wood for me, for all of us really, there's always been a clear cutoff. Like there would be some people with 10, 9 votes, 8 votes, and then the next person might have 5 votes. So there's like a clear cutoff. There's never been a time when someone, for example, that the last person that got inducted had 8 votes and the next person had 7. You know what I'm saying? There was a clear break each time, and I know one day it's not going to happen that way, but so far I've been fortunate that we look at it and say, well, here's the clear cutoff. So we're happy with that.
And as I mentioned, criteria, you got to get nominated. Obviously, there's the discussion period, but what are you looking for? What's it take to get in? What do you have to have? Jerod's got Emmys. Obviously, he's an award-winning journalist. He does amazing work in the community. He's a slam dunk. What's someone have to have resume-wise to kind of even be a serious contender?
Now, officially, there's only 2 criteria that we officially have, and a person has to meet at least one of them. First, needs to be a graduate of the program who contributed to journalism and mass communications as a profession. That means they've made a contribution to the profession or made a positive impact on the profession. Second is contributions to the School of Journalism, and that means through talent, treasure, or activity. Like, for example, Corley, not a graduate, but he was the dean of the program for a good number of years. So that was his talent that he contributed to the school. Same for Dan Hollis, longtime professor there, who I'm sure you probably had in class too. Believe it or not, I was pre Dan Hollis. I was pre. Yeah. I'm old, Chris. Yeah, I'm up there with you. Well, I know we're so old that we worked at Hills together.
Yes, sir, we did absolutely.
But Dan, not a graduate of the program, but a fantastic professor who has mentored and changed the lives of so many of our graduates. That's the 2 official ones. Now, of course, after that, we look at what people have done in their career. That those Emmys, it's leading a business, it's starting their own law firm and making an impact in the community. It is like Tony Crutchfield, one of our former inductees. He's the 4-star general that I mentioned. One of the top people in the U.S. military, and he was a Marshall journalism grad. We look at what people have done in their career, and it's not always just the trophies. As you know, trophies, except in sports, don't always mean everything. We look at the people and who just had solid careers, and a lot of, as you know, in any business, sometimes people just go into leadership positions and have carved out a great career as a lead, management in newspapers or law or public relations or radio. It's, all over the place. But we don't just look at awards. We look at their contributions and their impact that they've made on the industry and the community.
Our guest is Chris Dickerson, president of the School of Journalism Mass Communications Alumni Advisory Board. To reset the table, Jeff Hopson and Jerod Smalley, 2 outstanding sports journalists making their way to the Hall of Fame. Of course, Smalley, a more recent grad. also a former employee of mine. I kind of remind him of that now and then. I list him on my coaching tree. I don't know if that's fair. Dave Wilson says that he's from my coaching tree. Again, I don't know if that's fair, but I will take the acknowledgement that I'm the reason why Jerod has the career he has. I mean, he probably wouldn't agree with that, and he probably shouldn't.
You definitely should. Why not? There's kids that I coached in middle school sports that have went on to college. I claim them as college coaches of college players that I coach. Gladly take that.
All right, I'll take it then.
Some of them that I even coached in youth sports, so I'll take those too. I don't know if you talked about more about what Jerod Smalley. Of course, he's the anchor at WCMH in Columbus and the former sports director there. He has been named Ohio's best anchor 6 times by the Associated Press, and he's covered sporting events around the world. He has several regional Emmys, including 4 for his work on the autism puzzle, which is something very near and dear to his heart because he is the father of 2 boys who are on the autism spectrum. So, that's just another example of the things that he has done above and beyond. I mean, he brings awareness to the autism spectrum with his work, and I know he has a lot of charitable causes that he is involved with because of that.
Yeah, we bring Jerod on now and then when it's an Ohio State moment, and definitely we touch on that as well because he has, as you mentioned, gone above and beyond with his work. It's not just something that he pays lip service to. He is actually out there, making a difference. And, of course, as you mentioned, covering the Olympics. Of course, also, if you follow him on social media, when Marshall and Ohio play, it's always a battle between him and his Ohio Bobcat coworkers. And unfortunately, the herd has let him down a couple of times, and he's had to sport the Ohio gear. And, I would feel shame, too, if I was the Marshall Athletic Department in that.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Although Ohio has a great journalism program as well. The football team had a huge victory earlier this year against that team up north. So, and then I also want to talk about Jeff Hopson, just officially. He's, as I've told people, he traveled the globe as a videographer, primarily working sports events. He's covered the Olympics since 2016. 3 Super Bowls, dozens of major golf championships and other PGA tournaments, college football and basketball games, as well as NFL games, like I said, Sunday night football. He's done work for NBC News and ABC News, and he's won 2 national Emmys. So, that's those kind of resumes, like you say, those are just slam dunks for a Marshall Journalism Hall of Fame.
Chris Dickerson, our guest, president of the School of Journalism and Mass Communications Alumni Advisory Board. The banquet's coming up next week. Now, anyone can attend this. What's the requirement here? You don't have to be a grad. You can come. Yeah,
tickets are available. I don't know if you can put them up on your website or something, but they're available online. $50 a person, and that's for the dinner and ceremony. And we have two presenting sponsors, which are Hartman Costco Government Relations and Charles Ryan Associates. So we're always thankful to them. And we always have a bunch of sponsors who pitch in and help and sponsor tables and make the thing run smoothly, which is always good. We like to have a nice event. Taylor Eaton from WSAZ is going to be our MC for the evening. We're excited about that. So it's always a fun night. I promise you that. And like I said, this year's going to be extra special with the kickoff to the 100th anniversary of the School of Journalism. Big things we want to do, and there'll be one huge announcement we make that night that I'm excited for people to find out about. So,
all right, looking forward to that. I would try to pry it out of you now, but I know better.
Yeah. We've got to. That's called piquing curiosity. Foreshadowing.
I like it. It's a tease for the event. Our guest, Chris Dickerson, president of the School of Journalism, Mass Communications Alumni Advisory Board. Congratulations to all the inductees, including Jeff Hopson and Jerod Smalley. Chris, good talking to you again, and we'll do this again real soon, I hope.
Sounds good, Paul. Thanks. Anytime.
All right, Chris, everyone. He has tickets on sale. You can head over. You know what? We'll post it. I'll post it on social media. It's November 7th, and it's $50 to get into the event. And it can be online, and we'll get it. It's over at the Marshall main website, but I'll post it on social so that way you can find it. Quick timeout. We'll come back. We'll get your text in 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. More coming up on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Earn more with 4 at the best community bank in the Kanawha Valley, Poca Valley Bank. Poca Valley Bank is now offering a certificate of deposit special, 10-month APY, annual percentage yield 4%. Take advantage of this great rate to grow your savings. For more information, stop by one of the 8 Poca Valley Bank locations today. Poca Valley Bank, where relationships matter.
Certain terms and conditions apply. Rates based on minimum annual percentage yield, subject to change without notice. Minimum deposit required of $10,000 of new money not currently on deposit with Poca Valley Bank to receive APY. Member FDIC.
Looking for midweek fun? Head to Frank's Place, where every night's a party. Wednesdays are full of brains and brews with trivia night. Grab your crew and show off what you know. Thursdays, crank it up with Singo Bingo. Music meets bingo for prizes and laughs. Then Fridays, we hand you the mic for karaoke night. Sing your heart out and start your weekend right. The fun never stops at Frank's Place. Great drinks, great friends, and good times. Frank's Place, located at the River Place Plaza, next to Fratelli's. Check them out on Facebook for weekly updates and specials. Frank's Place, your home away from home.
Cold weather's on its way, and what do you want on those cold, chilly evenings? A warm blanket and a hot cup of cocoa. Well, you know who else wants the same comfort? Mice. Messy, uninvited guests. They sneak in and leave droppings, chew through your food and packages. Don't let mice take over your home this fall and winter. Call K&B Pest Control. We will kill for your business. Call today, 304-523-4281.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover guitar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
I'm Naheem Hines, professional football player and proud supporter of the Muscular Dystrophy Association. My mom was diagnosed with muscular dystrophy when I was 14, and I watched her struggle. But MDA helped her get the best treatments and care, and they also help kids like my buddy Ethan.
My name is Ethan. Thanks to the Muscular Dystrophy Association and people like you, I have more hope than ever before. From day one, they've treated me like family at my local care center. MDA is the only one that funds over 150 care centers across the U.S. to help provide state-of-the-art care for adults and kids like me.
MDA has been transforming the lives of people living with muscular dystrophy, ALS, and other related neuromuscular diseases. They fund the research for breakthrough treatments, care, and cures. And MDA provides support to thousands of families like mine and Ethan's in communities like yours. Thanks to MDA, kids and adults can live life to its fullest. Join us and learn more at MDA.org today.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover guitar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Follow at Paul Swann on X for Marshall sports updates and more.
We continue on with today's edition of The Drive here at ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Our text line this hour brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop at 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. You can also find me when I'm there at X. Yeah, Paul Swann. It's now, I can't say Twitter anymore. They're actually doing away with the domain. Twitter.com is going away. Thanks, Elon. And so we got to go all to X now, x.com if you're not using the app. So I'm at Paul Swann on X. Let's go to the text line. And, I did not write these. I did not prompt these. But I think the texter is serious. Texter wants to know, why hasn't the Paul Swann been inducted yet? Ask that question on behalf of the loyal The Drive listeners. I have to say, I'm not done yet. My career's not over. Yeah, that could change tomorrow. The boss might get mad at me. I'm done. It could be over. You tune in on a Wednesday. Where's Paul? He made the boss mad. He's done. He's gone. He's out of here. No, I'm not done yet. I got a ways to go. I'm only 54. I got another decade and a half if I can get that far. I got more to do. I got more to go. Get me at the end. Or get me close to the end. You know, when you start seeing, it's like, okay, it's time for me to start, looking towards the next generation and start like in wrestling terms, I got to start putting the young wrestlers over here. Get me then. Or get me next year. I'll take it either way. No, you got to nominate me first. If you're serious, you got to nominate me and make the argument, make a serious argument in my name, on my behalf. And maybe we'll see. Seriously, that's how it works. You got to have folks nominate you, but I'm not done yet. I don't think I'm done anyway. I think I got a few good years. I mean, I don't feel 54 today. So let's go. We got plenty to do before, you can start putting me in the Hall of Fame. I'm not ready yet, but I will take the honor. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. That's our text line to be a part of today's show here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Plus, I got to get some other folks in the Hall of Fame as well. That's a long list to get in. I mean, what makes the Hall of Fame special is the fact that not everybody gets in all the time at the same time. I mean, they've got like a long, he said like 30, maybe 20 to 30 names every year. And if that keeps consistently going, it's going to be a long time before anyone, gets in. And same thing with sports. Just because this person doesn't get in right away doesn't mean they're not worthy of being in. It's just how the process works. Like, okay, we got to get this person in. But what about this person? Oh, okay, get him next year. We got to get this person in. Okay, we got to get this person in. Okay. Not everybody can be Michael Jordan, Wayne Gretzky. Not everybody can be like Ken Griffey Jr. Still mad at that guy who didn't vote him, make him unanimous. I'm still mad at that one. Ken Griffey Jr. should have been a unanimous Hall of Fame. But you know what? Somebody's got to ruin it for everybody else. 304-396-TALK is our text line, 304-396-8255. That's our number to be a part of today's show here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Save big on everything for your next project when you shop at Menard. shades. Refresh your home today with Window Images Blinds and Shades. We have everything you need for updating your window treatments. We carry vinyl, aluminum, and faux wood blinds, cellular shades, and more. Plus, you can get them trimmed to width in-store for free. Also, be sure to check out the flyer on Menards.com for all our great deals happening this week.
Save big money at Menards.
Metro Community Federal Credit Union now brings you all the tech that big banks have, but still has that personal touch of a member-owned community credit union. Apple Pay? Got it. Digital wallet? Yep. Message pay by text, online loan payments, even chatting with a real person, not a bot. Open accounts, sign documents, and manage your money all online. It's the big bank tech you need from the local community-minded credit union you trust. Metro Community FCU. Visit metrocommunityfcu.com today.
You've cut back on everything and you're still coming up short at the end of the month. Give your local State Farm agent a call for a free discount double check. They'll show you how something as simple as combining car and home policies can save you hundreds of dollars a year. Being there to help keep more of your money is why your local State Farm agent is here. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
In Huntington, Jeff Smith, 304-781-1234. And in Wayne, Vicky Tabor, 304-272-5149.
I'm Naheem Hines, professional football player and proud supporter of the Muscular Dystrophy Association. My mom was diagnosed with muscular dystrophy when I was 14, and I watched her struggle. But MDA helped her get the best treatments and care, and they also help kids like my buddy Ethan.
My name is Ethan. Thanks to the Muscular Dystrophy Association and people like you, I have more hope than ever before. From day one, they've treated me like family at my local care center. AMDA is the only one that funds over 150 care centers across the U.S. to help provide state-of-the-art care for adults and kids like me.
MDA has been transforming the lives of people living with muscular dystrophy, ALS, and other related neuromuscular diseases. They fund the research for breakthrough treatments, care, and cures. And MDA provides support to thousands of families like mine and Ethan's in communities like yours. Thanks to MDA, kids and adults can live life to its fullest. Join us and learn more at mda.org today.
This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Miss an episode? Catch it anytime on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
We continue on with today's edition of The Drive here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Our text line, it's brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop. We do it every day at 304-396-TALK. That is 304-396-8255. Well, the playoffs are set in Ohio, but we've got a few weeks to go in West Virginia, and the rankings are out. And looking at Class 4A, not quad, 4A, Huntington High, the Highlanders, still the number one school in the big boy division, or the big school division. Number one, Morgantown's number two, Martinsburg is number three, University is fourth, and George Washington rounds out the top five. Other teams of interest, Cabell Midland is 19th out of 20, and Hurricane is dead last at 20. In Class AAA, it is Princeton, followed by Bridgeport, Fairmont Senior, North Marion, and then Nitro. The Spring Valley Timberwolves come in at number 6. Other schools of note in our region, Winfield coming in at 10th, Capitals 14th. Let's see. You've got Point Pleasant 27th, Lincoln County's 26th, St. Albans 28th, and let's see, other schools of note. Ripley is 18th for that one guy that listens. I do know one guy. Class AA. It is Frankfort at number 1, followed by Bluefield, then Independence, Philip Barber at 4, and then Mingo Central at number 5. Other schools of note. I know a guy, I know actually several. Logan is 10th. Lincoln is 14th. Then you have Wayne at 21, Sissonville at 22. Polka is 23rd. And that looks like that rounds out the schools of note of interest. In Class Single A, Wheeling Central Catholic is first, Wahama second, Tug Valley third, tied with Clay Battelle actually. Pendleton County comes in at 5th. Other schools of note, I know a guy. 17th is Man. 19th, tied with Calhoun County, is Tulsa. And there you have it. Full ratings available now on the WVSSAC website. And of course, we'll be following along with Spring Valley coming up this weekend, Friday night, right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Also, we got a dandy, Huntington and Cabell Midland. Throw out the records in this one. That's just going to be Huntington, Cabell Midland. You never know what's going to be happening there for the Shield. So that's our video stream. You can check it out. Just head to our website at WRVC.com or our Facebook page, and you can search ESPN 94.1 and AM 930 or just 930 WRVC. That should get you there as well. So our text line is still open. We're going to do that until the top of the show. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255 to be a part of today's show here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Texture says, Paul, you keep winning Sportscaster of the Year, and you'll be nominated soon. Was Woody nominated? That's a good question. That is a good question. And so I don't know if I'm allowed to ask, but I will find out. I mean, they're going to probably keep their nominations secret unless somebody nominates him. And honestly, I know a guy that might nominate him, since you bring that up. Of course, Woody, not a School of Journalism and Mass Communication grad, but he was a treasure to Marshall Athletics and to sports and radio and broadcasting for a long time. So, yeah, definitely. I'm still waiting. I know I'm going off the deep end here, and I'm going off the rails right now, but I'm hoping that one day that he's inducted into the Marshall Hall of Fame, the Athletic Hall of Fame. I'm hoping that he gets the nod one day. And not just for what his accomplishments were at Marshall, but what he meant outside of just his career at Marshall University. I mean, he's equipment manager, right? I mean, there should be a category for that. You know, people that didn't necessarily play, but I would love to, honestly, I would love to see a guy like that be honored, be recognized for his contributions to the athletic department. I don't know if you come up with a different category for that, but I think that he would definitely be somebody that I'd like to see be put up for something like that. He told me it's similar to what we talked about with Chris Dickerson earlier. Just, you know, you got to nominate somebody. Of course, he would be the guy doing all the research. And he's got reams and reams of notes on lots of people, and he would go and look in the notebooks, and he would go look in the media guides, and he'd tell me that, for example, when Southern Conference came out with its all list or all timers, and there were a lot of people that made the list for Marshall that weren't in the Hall of Fame. I'm like, okay, we got to prioritize them. We got to get them in. So those probably were some interesting conversations. Texter says, Paul, I think you should be in the Hall of Fame. No, thank you. I appreciate it. No, I don't want this to be about me today. We got Chris on. Chris wanted to talk about the event itself. Also, Jeff Hopson, Jerod, Smalley. I appreciate it. Thank you. I would love to be, honestly, I would love to be acknowledged. I would love to be recognized, but I got to do the work first. I got to get the work done. I got years to go. It's not over yet. I'm hoping we do this for a long time to come. I mean, I haven't planned my retirement date yet. I'm 54. We got some time to do this. And hopefully I'll get better. And you guys will enjoy it more, and we'll do more that you like. So, yeah, I appreciate it, though. Thank you, honestly. But, you know, again, if you want to nominate me, I'll take it now. Let's just go ahead and get that out of the way so I can free me up to do some other things. No, it's always an honor if you're nominated for something like this, or if you're recognized. And, you know, shout out to, I don't know Jeff, but I know Jerod, and Jerod's hard worker. Jerod is definitely somebody that has earned his way over the years. And so I'm excited for him, and congratulations to everyone that made the list this year that'll be inducted and honored. And it's really cool that Marshall has taken more of an interest in things like this, especially with the J School. And so if you want to nominate me for something, nominate me for the WMUL Hall of Fame. Let's start out there. The College Campus Radio Station Hall of Fame. Maybe they can name an award after me or something there. That's just start small. I will say this, though, and again, we're going deep off the rails here today. I don't have the ability to get it started right now, but I've always wanted to start a scholarship to the broadcasting wing curriculum at the Marshall to help an aspiring broadcaster, because you're not making that much money at most levels if you get into this profession. So anything I can help to offset the cost is job well done as far as I'm concerned. So that's kind of my goal down the line. I'd like to see a scholarship started. I'd like to get one started just to kind of help with stuff like that. All right, we've gone off the rails enough. We're going to be back at this tomorrow here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. When I say we've got off the rails, when I'm reffing this, we've got off the rails here today. But no, good stuff today. And we'll post the link to the event in the podcast description. I think that's going to be the best place to post that. So if you are interested, if you're hearing about this, or, hey, you know what, I'd like to go. I know Jerod. I know Jeff. I'd like to go see those guys get inducted. We'll get you hooked up. We'll post that in the podcast description. Now, where do you get that? Well, that's simple. That's Apple Podcasts. That's Spotify, or just wherever you get fine podcasts. Also, head over to our website later, wrvc.com. You can listen to the podcast there. You can download the app, listen to the radio station anytime, wherever you're at. It's all right there. The best place to start is wrvc.com. Thanks for joining us. I'll be back with you tomorrow here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
WRBC Huntington, W227BS Huntington, your flagship home of the Marshall Thundering Herd and The Drive with Paul Swann, ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.